So, mao pa ni akong nahimong nga kuan sir, kanang makita ra sir?
Yes, so
Kanang gubot ba siya sir? Pero imong giingon naman sa kay like one composite drawing.
mm,
So, ingani ra siya sir or kuan
well, that is the inventory, bale. It's not the analysis or mo na siyang analysis nimo
analysis this is sir?
because
What's
because
the
it's
difference
gonna
day sa 2 sir? Opo ko
good
gagayad ko.
questions. Kay ang ako instruction is divide to siya to two panels. The left side is the inventory, the other side is the analysis. The inventory shows you all the attributes sa kuan sa site like the
Mhm.
wind flow, the sun pass, and then the analysis tells you how those attributes can affect the design. Like for example, because of the wind flow, the best
Ah,
location for something is here, or
oo.
because of the noise, you have to put a lot of barriers here, or because of
Ah,
the view, you have to open up this place. So,
so
sa
like
PCAS, pakita lang na, okay, there's a good view here, but that does not
mm,
affect the design.
mm.
So, the analysis tells you how it affects the design.
So more or less sir, it's like a design solution day kanang
Yeah, no, dili pa siya solution because the design solution is the actual drawing of the
okay.
kuan, of the form, etc. So, mga consideration, design considerations pa siya. So, those are basically the so you're basically using the same maps, but you're adding more information
Ah, okay.
than
Sige
so
sir.
good. Ang kulang lang sa imong conceptual board
Hala,
is how you want to um, apply the concept sa outside the house. Kay puro balay man nimong gipakita. So how it can be applied to the house. For example, sa streetscape or sa open space, how that theme would resonate, no? How that theme would also be interpreted there. Um, and also, katong gipakita nimong model houses, mo na timong design or kuan pa lang to, murag wala
an
pa to siya.
dili pa to final sir? Like nag-base
Yeah,
siya sa sa kuan?
because ang single detach nimo is actually not a single detach kina kay firewall.
Amo lagi sir, murag
So,
ako pa ni-adjust.
uh,
Ako ra magi-copy ang iyang kuan, like ang design features sa usa ka house nya ako ra
uh,
gi-copy sa katong mga different kinds of houses.
mm. So anyway, so I just want to clarify that. No? And then the single attach or duplex has at least only one firewall delete both sides. So more differences nila the firewalls. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to extend the deadline. Kung ganahan ka mag-change, um, you can still submit even until tomorrow if you need to change anything or to add. So who else? Si Angelina is kuan. Are you here? You're actually here twice.
Alright. Yes,
Duha ka
sir.
accounts ang open. Are you ready to present mo nang gi-open ka another account?
Um, Not really polished pa kayong concept board, but
Yeah, that's why
try.
what we're here for to polish
Sige,
it.
sige. Try to present.
Okay, so Alexandria will go next.
Sir. Nag-set up ako. Um, So wala pa
Okay.
na ako na export sir. But
Mm, no problem. So basically, what's your theme? Kay murag wala man magsuwat. How do you explain your theme?
um murag my so akong concept here is uh biophilia, and it
Mm-hmm.
involves like hmm, um manipulation of daylight,
Mm.
yeah, and then I'm lost.
You can speak Cebuano if you want.
Okay. So so on the right, um these are my major swatches. The
Uh-huh.
first one is this is like steel, black, I mean steel or aluminum for
Okay.
accent. Yeah. This will be used for yeah, in small parts lang. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same lang, for example kay um the cable, the cable,
Okay.
yeah, this one, the
The
railings,
cables.
yeah, and then kanang frame sa doors and windows, and then a part of
But more of accent siya, no?
yeah, yeah,
Yung
accent
role.
lang.
Yeah.
And then ang wood is dili pud siya main material, but for accent lang sad, and mainly will be used indoors, since like dili siya kaayo what do you call this, ideal outdoors ba,
Mm.
given nga kanang magsigig uwan sa Philippines. And also another accents kay kaning bricks na white and kaning stones.
Mm-hmm.
So but kanang ang exterior jud nga um like coating for my houses, like a major portion is white, kay
Mm.
kay para like 'di ba, I wanted to integrate daylight as much as possible indoors. So
Mm.
like I need to compromise, I mean I need to integrate it without compromising the thermal comfort of the users or the residents. So like
Mm.
um 'di ba, light reflects sa kanang white surfaces, so muna siya. And then another solution for like um to minimize the thermal to minimize the glare and yeah, heat heat gain is
Mm-hmm.
kanang cladding, yeah, I mean mga sunshading devices or ba?
Yes.
Yes, and that, and then um these are only my concepts, but like ang form kay dili pa, I mean the patterns of these um sun shading devices is not yet sure pa ba. Mo try pag
Oh.
manipulate nga murag nasa siya as aesthetic appeal
Uh-huh.
sa shadows. For example,
Oh.
this one in the middle, yeah, like in ana. And also kay since exposure to outdoors, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 'di ba ang kanang murag one of the goal and involvement sa outdoors, sa outdoor environment. So like naasad ko'y balconies, and then uh floor, not really floor to ceiling height
Mm-hmm.
windows, um maybe like ako lang magbutang ko sa stairwell kani,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. kay para na oh, magbutang ko sa stairwell para dili pud siya kalas gani og lighting in the morning, and then I mean yeah during the daytime, and then also sa pero recess lang siya gamay.
Yes.
Yeah, and then another is yeah when mo compensate pud ang sun shading devices nako if like ganahan ko mag put og um um tall height na windows, and
Okay.
yeah, and then um also one of the element pud nga gusto na ko integrate sa outdoors is um kaning curves. Yeah, kay yeah organic siya, and then oh and then I'll try to if makaya na kog buhat sad kanang sa mga roofing sa, sa community facilities, sir. Yeah.
Mm.
Pero ang form sa ang form or roofing sa akong dwelling units kay magdepend sa yeah uh, magdepend sa ventilation and lighting ba na ko nga
Mm-hmm.
strategy. For example, like if ganan ko magbutang og skylight nga dili kay siya init, yeah. Kay
Mm-hmm.
combination of flat roof, or if ganahan ko mag clerestory windows,
Mm-hmm.
kay yeah, na koy gable or shed, so something like that. Hindi
Mm-hmm.
pa siya certain. No. And what else? Um, also na
Yes. Elsa.
um yeah, nagbutang sa gug mga kahoy-kahoy din he. And
Kanang sa lower left nimo na drawing unsa na siya di na ako kay maklaro.
ay, pwede na ako mag-zoom.
It's that brag a hill or
This one, sir?
oh?
Ay, kuha na siya kanang top view na siya sa park. Yeah.
Top view sa park. Okay.
Oh,
Sige. Okay.
then nga na ay sun shading sad nga devices, and then isolated nga greeneries, and then
Okay.
ana yeah, one
Sige.
also at night time kay since gi-integrate man ni sa utilities and then lighting ang topic, so
Mm.
if no if maklaro kay kani siya murag LED strips pod kay kanang most na one of the elements yeah ay
Mm.
nga gamiton nako in my
So
entire
for your
subdivision.
utilities, you have to submit a drawing na murag night time to show the effect of the lights. Siguro.
Yes. And then yeah, so mana siya
Mm.
akong gamiton ang lights nga makuan sa
Mm.
kanang ma ma-highlight or ma-complement ang design sa akong building, or
Yes.
yeah, that's it. I
So I
think
just want to clarify that at this point, I'm not really asking you to present kung ano, the how you generate the form of the buildings. Um, because in fact I'm not asking you that already because after this is the schematics. Murag diretso na lang and then you just explain later during the schematics. At this point, it's more of really murag applic, no, or applications of design elements or what design elements that you're going to use. Biophilic design, um, there has to be that connection with nature. Magipakita dyan mo there's connection with nature. So it's not only sunlight, it's everything. And somehow there's also an interpretations of form. For example, na-mention ka na some portions might be organic. Na-mention ka about the curves. But I think mas makapatuyang ka og gamit sa form on the landscaping more than just the house. The house more limited kay ka, especially that this is a subdivision, then more repetitive ang mga designs. And so, for example, it's I think you're doing it well here in the park design, kanang mga curves na design. Pero you keep on mentioning good, I think, about the form of the building. So it's not the time to be really to very concerned about it yet. And also, murag ni focus ka more on sunlight. Focus more on how the inside can connect with the outside. So you have balconies, you have big windows, or I don't know how else you're going to do that kung sa imong balay. No? And then, okay, so I think paan lang, no? It's although it's a biophilic design. Um, my question is, how are you going to market the theme, no? How are you going to call it? So we have to find a more catchy term because if you're going to use biophilic, basig mo turn off ang mga tao, abi nila unsa na robot.
Oh,
Because
descriptive. Mara man akong
uh,
description nga makuan pa karon sir.
yes,
Dili
yes. Kay Kuan, because if previously I don't comment so much about how you label the buildings, like in the first place, people call the buildings anyway, no? Neil called it lakang, somebody else called it tabanog, other call it something else. Um, but now I'm more concerned about how it's going to be marketed because it's part of the design process, no, to make it attractive to the buyers. So kana, and then that image that you're trying to sell should reflect the actual designs. So kana lang siguro ang kulang pud nimo to look for that to that catchy phrase or term. Okay, so Alexandria, it's your turn.
wait, ay kanang
Ah,
nakay
napakay-add?
I'm sa site inventory, like mo ask lang ko if I'm doing this
Yes.
right. Wait,
Sige daw. I saw the drawing earlier.
like
Um,
wala ko pa go if
na kay kuan. Na
ay
kay plano.
oh, okay man gud nako nga appeal ang kanang developmental control sa site
Wala.
inventory sir ba,
You're
and then the
you're one step
calculation.
ahead.
Actually nakabuhat na gyud kog series schemes sir.
Well, okay ra. At least pero ako at least mga lang ko step by step. Okay ra man maguna-una. But
Ay,
don't submit this to me. Submit to me the site analysis. This is already the site development. Um, you can submit that in the site analysis siguro if you have three schemes. Pero the site analysis is just as I explained to Neil. It's really murag if the site inventory has the attributes and then the site analysis explains how the attributes are considered or will be considered in the design. Ano.
naman siya reason diri sir, like dili siya final pa murag igamit na nako siya for identifying the average number of lots sir ba, and then it
Yeah, pero unsa mang attributes sa site ang mo resulto number of houses or lots.
dili
So murag dili siya mao kay the number of lots murag na siya sa design aspect, murag interpreting the design consideration sa kuan na sa planning. So murag ang kuan lang sa design site analysis is okay. For example, kung nakay views, okay, what do you do with the views sa design? Are you going to block that off or open up or mag-asa nimo i-locate ang mga elements sa imong site? Kung nakay sun dere, are you going to make use of it or not? No? Also the wind, are
na
you going to
other
make use of it?
nga diri ang reasons sir, pero murag nakuan lang gyud siya shape. Wa ko sure
Oh,
kung ano ko pa.
sige. Sige,
Murido ko
isubmit na lang na. Di, ayaw na lang. Kana, if you're, kung ano diha imong explanations, so I'll just read through it.
okay sir,
Okay.
thank you.
Pero advance na kaya.
Sige.
Okay, very good. Alexandria, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Um,
So it's a modern eclectic theme.
yes, sir. So, the name lang, sir, kay still in progress pa na kanang Sapin
Sa pin.
Subdivision.
Mm.
Pero, kuan na siya inspired from the Filipino comfort food na katong
Sa
sapin-sapin.
pin sa pin.
That has full of different layers. So my theme for this subdivision is called Modern Eclectic because of the variation of curved, natural, and geometric patterns from the pictures that I made an inspiration of this subdivision. So
Mm.
in here kani mga different pictures, mga nagkuan na nga different or eclectic styles of themes, and
Yes.
I want to bring a comforting and stimulating na environment that will attract people and not make them bored of their surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And to tie everything up is the use of neutral colors to not make it overstimulating, sad, and full, because I also
Mm.
like to incorporate more open spaces to this subdivision. And
Oo.
also, you can see the houses with wide windows to for natural light and ventilation. So I like the visual sense of wide windows because I
Mm-hmm.
like na there is a ano pictures, because and in the design I like I like these and I like these types because it looks clean but clustered na look, and that's what
Mm.
I'm aiming for. So
Mm.
also I like the use of materials here like concrete and wood. So that's it, Pastor.
Yeah. Ang comment na nako ani is that whenever you have something eclectic, because eclectic is really a collection of different things,
Yes, sir.
uh, what is crucial is the unifying element. No? Sa kadaghan nilag kuan, klase-klase, something has to unify them, otherwise it comes out chaotic. Murag kuan ba?
So,
Sud ka, for example, if it's subdivision, sud ka, and then la kagubot, daghan kayo, ana. But
yes,
then,
sir.
if there's that unifying element, murag mas ma-appreciate sa tao kung say kalahian nila sa bawat isa, because there is something that is the same, and but then there's also the things that differ each. Nagana gani. So
Ah,
dapat murag na sila ma-sense food na pareho
what
sa
about
each one.
kuan, sir? Ang unifying element kay ang color, like neutral colors
Pwede,
or like
pwede po
ang
ana. Oh.
vegetation sa nila.
Mm. Siguro
Mm.
ang treatment sa landscape is the same,
Okay, sir.
or maybe the color scheme is the same pero
Mm.
lahi-lahi lang forma jud, or I don't know, or the material is the same for lain-lain ang pag-interpret. So
Okay,
murag
sir.
basta something common
Okay,
ana.
sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sige.
Ah, I'll stop
So,
presenting na.
okay. So
Thank you,
who
sir.
wants to go next? Si Kuan. Dun, 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 dun. Ito may nadiri. Si Hannah, si Rafael, and Erica. Is there anyone na ganahan mo present? Wala, wala ganahan mo present. Um, wait lang. Sige. Take your time, Rafael.
Sir, na may question.
Yes.
Sa setback sa um kaning single detached, sir, ba kay sa
Hmm.
National Building Code kay 4.5 kay nabilong siya sa R1, but
Yes.
nalagi ko yung makit-an nga subdivisions including ours nga tag 2 to 3 setbacks lang. So,
2 to 3 meters.
oh yeah, 2 to 3 meters.
Ang kuan, ang 4.5 belongs to I don't know kung apilang kuan, apilang ang medium cost, kung pareho ba sila. basin dili medium cost basi economic housing and development ninyo. That's why it has a different setback sa front. Otherwise, kung kuan siya, open market, ang inyong subdivision, or katong nakita nimo, and then 3 meters lang ang setback sa front, dili siya compliant, ni violate siya.
Oh. Ay, like, nagkatusang murag, ni? Dool nga subdivision sa site ba kay gi-try na kog measure sa Google Earth lang and then
Oh,
approximately 2 to 3 setbacks po. Ay, 2 to 3 meters ang setback.
sa Maryville.
Yeah.
Pero ang makuha nimo dito, ma-measure nimo is the roof, di ba? So napatoy ning setback pagamay ang wall ato from the edge of the roof. And hopefully dako yung eaves mo na 4.5. Otherwise, okay, dili siya mag-violate na pod siya sa code. So actually, in reality, you will find a lot of violations sa code. And the sad thing is, sometimes murag, most of the time maybe murag walay mga penalties imposed ana ba or walay nabuhat ang government. But that's a sad reality. Munang as much as possible as future designers, so you should be able to come up with a design na dili na require na mo violate pag code just to satisfy the the client. Kaya ang client by nature ganahan man sila gamiton ang tibuok properties. So kung pwede why set ba kay ana. So don't be scandalized by it. And then in the end, even if the government cannot do anything, ang may tawag na is the setbacks are there for the protection of the people themselves. Eh kung magsunog, at least there's a space between so it's either ma-delay or ma-stop ang sunog from spreading. Pero kung violate, okay, wato yung magbuhat ang government, but the one who suffers when the time comes is the violators. Kay wala ang protection na gihatag sa ilaha, wala nila gi-follow. So munang karma.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I hope you're not the type na musulti na di mo ko pwede mo setback of 2 meters, sir, sila gani. Because I actually heard that from students before.
Nag-wonder lang ko, sir, kay lahi man. Yeah, mostly pag nga subdivisions jud. And then katong architect sa Papa sa akong friend ba nga architect kay ang giingon sad kay 3 meters po.
Wala.
But wala siya diri nag-base sa Philippines. Na-confuse rin ko.
So, kung i-accost mo siya, ayaw akong pangalan so tiya. It's according to the National Building Code, hindi siya, not according to Troy Elizaga. Kaya nagbasa yun po sa building code. It's good. Actually, to tell you the truth also, a lot of professionals are not very familiar with all the laws, all the codes. Okay, so even kang special interpretation, although ang setback is very common, there is, for example, setback kung kanang kung na body of water. So whether you can build on top of that or not. So there are architects who actually told me that they can build on top of that as long as on stilts, etc. But then if you really study the law, it's not allowed. And then there are exemptions, but ang some conditions have to be met to be exempted. And then some architects walang sila tanaw kung sa itong conditions, pakita na there are exemptions, pwede exempted ta. So buhat ra pod sila. And they thought that they were correct. And so manang kinahanglan ay for me ba kaning continuing education even for those who are already professionals. because ang knowledge is not really kuan, they cannot easily get it at first. So ay lang ka kabalak ka. O Rafael, daghan may nagstorya diri.
Sorry.
Di okay.
Mag present na. Sa phone ra
Present
gyapon
mo.
ko pero pilo ma landscape na kay akong gi-download og PDF.
We'll just squint our eyes.
Wait. Kita ra sir.
Okay. Yes,
Ni
very
landscape.
much.
Wait, ma-minimize ang ubos. Ano ra.
So naka-highlight ang Zen.
Yes sir. Kanang so mo na akong kuan theme sa subdivision is Zen. So
Mhm.
the overall concept for the subdivision is to give a feeling of Zen and
Unsa man ang Zen?
having neutral colors. Ano sir?
Unsa nang Zen? Sa definition
Kuan,
nimo sa Zen.
peaceful o kanang nature friendly.
Sige daw.
Kung ako pong na-research sa Zen kay para ma-integrate sa imong architectural design kay kuan mag-add ka og naturality.
Mm.
So mo nang akong gibutang sa color palette kay neutral colors as much as possible para more natural siya og kana pong more vegetation pod.
Mhm.
So having neutral colors complement the theme of Zen. The houses have uniform form, having a shed or flat roof, no round edges, and the use of natural tones as well as in the interior.
Mm.
Houses also are fenced up to provide needed security. Kuanto sir no kanang needed ang tanan houses nga fence.
Dili man, it
Or-
depends on you kay although nisulti ko ng indication sa tapad niya subdivision is murag gated tanan houses. If murag in your design murag mo assure ka na makuan jud siya, secure jud siya, walay makasulod, exclusive jud siya. So pwede ra ka you can do away with the gates.
Also, di ra necessary.
Dili
Pero
siya
murag mas nindot siya nga secured. Depende ra di. Sige. So, parks are full of vegetation while still having an open space for picnics or events. Sustainability is also important. Mo nang nagbutang ko solar panels pod og rainwater collection system which is kani. Kuan ba na siya, sir? Feasible ang
solar
rainwater
panel?
collection?
Yes, very much. In fact, it's required by law. At least sa Cebu, you should collect rainwater, you should harvest rainwater. The thing is, it does not appear in our design kay na may septic sana you have to have a tank and then most of the time it's underground so does not appear in the drawings.
Pero murag mas nindot jud og na rainwater.
Yeah,
collection. Sige. Kaya mara to, sir.
Okay. So, ang worry nako sa imong i-present is that ang definition nimo sa Zen because the Zen really in essence is something like minimalist. Murag wala jud kuan ba? It's peaceful because there's no clutter at all. Murag as much as possible murag if pwede kay wala jud. So that's why what are the elements that gives peace kana mostly on horizontal line So the emphasis on the horizontal and then minimalism. So to the extent na even the landscape is minimal, if not kuan ba murag kung pwede po tailored or murag kuan good murag sa tawagan murag landscape jud siya gani murag i-trim ang mga trees. So
Yes.
mo na ang kuan naka ang main feature sa Zen. So it's not murag wala there's no clutter even so in terms of visual.
Yes, sir.
So this
Noted.
is like an opposite of kay Alexandria na eclectic na daghan kayo. So but then it still works no. Kay nakita na sa mga i-present ni mo diri most of it are murag kuan although gamay ra man no ang emphasis ba wala nimo na capture mismo sa unsa di Zen. Maybe kaning tungod sa balay na nastunga. So
Focus
expect
ko
na
more on sa kuan plants. Pero napa din ang kuan. Sige, sir.
Now the
Thanks.
term I'm looking for is manicured, no? Yung landscape is like manicured. Okay, so just make sure that you you get
Sige, sir.
the gist. So what about si Kuan? So Erica or Hannah? Okay, sa kung dili mo ready. Mine's not yet ready. Yes, Alexandria, it's all right too. In fact, we're about to end, so you can go ahead. And
Okay, thank you.
then, Hannah, are you ready? Kay kung dili, we can end our kuan. Nag-data ra ko sa CP. Okay, so I guess katulang no, at least some of you might have gotten a thing or two from the other presentations. And I hope. Just make sure that you're consistent sa inyong theme. Okay, mo na ang kuan, mo na akong hangin ninyo ron. So anyway, you can still submit until tomorrow kaya present diri. Katong kinahanglan mag-usab. But then the rest, but I really need to go over all your site analysis para maka-comment ko na next meeting. Because next meeting, I will not be asking you to present the site analysis. I will be the one presenting my commentary on all the site analysis. Okay, so kana lang so that you can still go work. So let's end our session now. So thank you very much for coming. Okay, so goodbye to everyone. See you on Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Stop recording.